Hallelujah. Hallelujah. You may be seated. Giving praise and honor once again to the God of the universe, Yehovah Sevaot, the Lord of hosts, that created all things, that gave us the breath of life, that we are able to come before him and worship before him on this day, and to give him the praise that he deserves. Because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be alive this day. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have food to eat, clothes to put on, strength from our bodies to come forth day by day. So it's only one day that he takes from us, from the days of the week, that we give to him totally in praise and honor and worship. And we take the opportunity on these days to also, along with praising him, to study his Lord, to study our history, to see the things that happened to our forefathers years ago, and hopefully those things that they did that were wrong we could learn from, so that we could correct our mistakes, correct their mistakes in our lifetime, so that we could go forward and do that which is right before the Most High God, so that he could select us as the generation to come out of these lands of captivity and bring us back into the land that he promised to our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to give unto us. So on this day, we're going to go into the portion which we read in the Hebrew, which is called Korach in Hebrew, or the name of the person is Korah, as they would say in English, which begins in the book of Numbers, chapter 16. And in speaking about Korah and the things that he did, realized that he was a cousin of Moses. So they grew up in the same family, same household, out of the tribe of Levi. It's usually those that are near unto you that may cause the most problems in your life, because it's usually those that are near unto you that see you getting status, see you getting things in life, and then they get jealous of you because they grew up, basically around the same time as you did. Both of you grew up together. But we know from Moses' history that although he was raised in his early years by his mother, because he was given back into his mother to raise him when he was young, he was separated from them and then raised in the house of Pharaoh. But Moses still knew who his family was, and his family still knew who Moses was. So all of these things that happened from then up until this point, everybody saw. And like I said, the jealousy comes out in people. And usually the jealousy comes about in people that usually have something already. Because those that are humble and don't have much usually don't aspire to get to a status that they may see somebody ahead of them has. But usually, and we will read that Korah himself has some status within the nation of Israel, along with all of those that he gathered with him. So when they had some sort of status, they even wanted to get more. So we're going to go into the portion, the book of Numbers, chapter 16, verse 1.
We're in the book of Numbers, chapter 16, starting from verse 1. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Now Korah, the son of Iskar, the son of Kohat, the son of Levi, with Datan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and On, the sons of Peleth, sons of Reuben, took men. And they rose up in the face of Moshe with certain of the children of Israel, 250 men. They were princes of the congregation, the elect men of the assembly, men of renown.
So like I said, these weren't regular people. These weren't the average everyday person that got up in the morning and went to work. These were the top of top people in the nation. The top shotters, the big wigs, the big willies, whatever they want to call them. These were the people that they had their status already, and then they are jealous because they can't, no matter what they have, they can't get to the level that Moses had. So their jealousy comes upon them. So Korah, Moses' cousin, because they gave his genealogy here to let you know where he come from. He's Moses' cousin, and he brought with him Dathan and Abiram, where they said were the sons of Eliab, and On, the son of Peleth. These were the sons of Reuben. Reuben is the firstborn son of Israel. So this is a tribe that also feels that they should have some status within the nation because they are the firstborn. And through the process of history, reading from Genesis 48 up until this point, you see everything went from, it skipped past Reuben, it skipped past Simeon, it skipped past Levi, and when we're reading in the future, and here, it goes into Judah, who got the kingdom. But also, bear in mind that from reading the beginning of the book of Numbers, how everybody was encamped around the tent of meeting. So you had the family of Kohat, of which Korach is part of, and also the tribe of Reuben, who dwelt near together on the same side, on the south side of the tabernacle. So they themselves, being in close proximity, had the opportunity to talk. And all that they did, like Prince always says all the time, anytime we talk, is usually talk against each other. We never talk about anything to lift each other up. It's always talking to bring somebody down. So whenever they got together to talk against Moses, even though Moses was the one that God put in place of in our presence in Israel to work wonders in the land of Egypt and even in the wilderness up until this point. So it was the Most High God that chose Moses. But these men, and it said 250 other men, these are out of all of Israel, princes of the congregation. That means that they were talking all the time. For this portion could have taken place any time during the 40-year journey in the wilderness, because it's not everything going right after the other. So they had time to talk, and all the time they were talking against Moses, and now they built up the courage where they said that they stepped up in the face of Moses in order to challenge him. But this challenging Moses is really not the root of the problem. We'll get into the root of the problem in this verse.
Verse 3. And they assembled themselves together against Moshe and against Aharon, and said unto them, Ye take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are holy, every one of them, and Yahweh is among them. Wherefore then ye lift up yourselves above the assembly of Yahweh?
So really the problem that they had was with Aaron being the high priest. Because they thought that Aaron being the high priest is taking too much upon himself, and how he's lifted up in the sight of all of Israel. And the Korach and the people that are with him are saying that Yahweh is in the midst of all of Israel. Because the cloud of the pillar that's by day and the fire by night, everybody gets to see that. And the presence of the Most High God dwells within all of Israel. So they felt that there's no need for Aaron to be high priest, because all of the congregation, all of the nation of Israel is holy people. So therefore no one person needs to be lifted up against another person. But we know that you always need to have leadership within the nation, so that way everything gets in order. Because we know that God is in heaven and he's our ultimate king. But he puts it up, he gives us judgments in order to judge ourselves, so everything can fall into line. So for those that have to approach unto him to do the holy things, he's going to select who he wants to do that job. Because that way everybody don't come up and feel that they could do whatever they want to do, because the Most High God wants everything to be done in an orderly and a structured fashion. Continue.
And when Moshe heard it, he fell upon his face. And he spoke unto Korach and unto all his company, saying, In the morning Yahweh will show you Yahweh will show who are his, and who is holy, and will cause him to come near unto him, even him whom he may choose, and he will cause to come near unto him.
So Moses took the humble approach. You have 250 plus Korach, Dathan, and Abiram, and Eliab, who are approaching unto him, stepping up in their face. But he took the humble approach. He fell down upon his face. And of course, in his mind, he's probably praying to the Most High God, because he knows that with this rebellion, there's going to come some sort of plague or something. So he's humbling himself, and he's giving them an opportunity to present themselves before the Most High God. And he's telling them that let the Most High God choose, even though he already chose. But if you want it proof again, let's do something so that the Most High God could choose who belongs to him and who's not.
Verse 6. This do, take you censers, Korah, and all his company. Then put fire therein, and put incense upon them before Yahweh tomorrow. And it shall be that the man whom Yahweh doth choose, he shall be holy. He take too much upon you, ye sons of Levi.
So the congregation, like I said, Korach being out of the tribe of Levi, and a bunch of the men of the 250 being of the tribe of Levi, he's saying, he's returning their words to him back unto them and saying, you take too much upon yourselves, because they stepping up and they already have a portion that comes directly for the Most High God, but yet they want more.
And Moshe said unto Korah, Hear now, ye sons of Levi, is it but a small thing unto you that the God of Israel has separated you from the congregation of Israel to bring you near to himself, to do the service of the tabernacle of Yahweh, and to stand before the congregation to minister unto them? And that he have brought thee near, and all thy brethren the sons of Levi with thee? And will ye seek the priesthood also?
So even the position that the tribe of Levi had, Moses is questioning them, wondering if this is not enough for you, because you already got yourself separated from the rest of the nation to get up, to have no portion of land, to have everything taken care of for you. When we read in the end of this portion in Numbers 18, you see what the tribe of Levi would get from the rest of Israel, all because they were the ones responsible for doing the work of the tent of meeting in the wilderness. And in the future, we know when it became a temple, it was the tribe of Levi that it was their responsibility to attend to the temple and to take care of all of those things. So he's saying, is that a small thing in your eyes that you have to get the priesthood also? Because the priesthood, the only difference between them and the priesthood is that the priest is the one that actually approaches the altar to bring up the offerings. But the tribe of Levi is right there the whole time. They're the ones attending to the priest. So, there's not that much difference, only that the priests have a little bit higher status in the work. But he's saying, how is it a small thing in your sight that you get all of this, and now you want to challenge the Most High God, because you're not challenging Aaron, you're challenging the Most High God and his selection and saying that he made a bad choice and that you want the priesthood.
Verse 11. Therefore thou and all thy company that are gathered together against Jehovah, and as to Aaron, that is he that ye murmur against him. And Moshe sent to call Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and they said, we will not come up. Is it a small thing that thou hast brought us up out of the land of flowing with milk and honey, to kill us in the wilderness? But thou must need to make thyself also a prince over us. Moreover, thou hast not brought us into a land flowing with milk and honey, nor given us inheritance of fields and vineyards. Wilt thou put out the eyes of these men? We will not come up.
So Moses tried, he already knows where the mind of Korach is at this time. So now he's trying to speak to Dathan and Abiram and everybody else that came up with Korach and speaking to them, trying to separate them, because Moses knows what's going to happen to everybody in the end. So he's trying to separate them. He's trying to talk them some sense into them. Hopefully they will calm down their murmuring and their rebellion. But they returned to Moses and saying that, you were the one that brought us out of the land of milk and honey. Them speaking about the land of Egypt. Even though the land of Egypt was where we, was bondage unto us, and that was the place where we cried out to the Most High God to deliver us from. Now all of a sudden that's the land flowing with milk and honey, and that he brought us into the wilderness to die. And it wasn't Moses that brought us to the wilderness to die. When we remember from last week, it was the children of Israel that brought themselves into the wilderness to die because they didn't want to go into the land. So all of this stuff that they're putting on Moses in the wilderness is really the fault of the entire nation. Like I said before, anything that happens in your life, anything that happened in our lives, we have to look into ourselves and see what it is that we did wrong before the Most High God. Because the Most High God is not going to curse those that live right and do right before him.
Verse 15. And Moshe was very wroth, and he said unto Jehovah, respect not thou their offering. I have not taken one ass from them, neither have I hurt one of them. So
now, the humility of Moses goes out of him, and now anger comes into him. Because he knows Korach, like I said, they're family. He could deal with that. But now these other people, Reuben and everybody else that came up, in the face of Moses, these are not his family. And these are people that he probably had no direct contact really, but they're stepping up to him like he did something wrong. So he's speaking to the Most High God and saying, I didn't do anything wrong to these people, so therefore don't respect their offering. Because I'm the one that lived according to how you wanted me to live. Everything that you wanted me to do, I did. And I didn't do anything to them, even in all of this. Even no matter what, Moses didn't take anything from anybody. Everything that was done, even for the building of the tabernacle, he asked the people to give those things up. And the people gave those things up willingly. Moses lived according to whatever he had of his own and that the Most High God blessed him with. But he didn't take anything from the children of Israel.
Verse 16. And Moshe said unto Korah, be thou and all thy congregation before Jehovah, thou and they and Aharon tomorrow. And take ye every man his fire pan, and put incense upon them, and bring ye before Jehovah every man his fire pan, 250 fire pans. Thou also and Aharon, each his fire pan. And they took every man his fire pan, and put fire in them, and laid incense thereon, and stood at the door of the tent of meeting with Moshe and Aharon. So they accepted the challenge that Moses put before them, not seeing that it's really a trick, but they took the challenge, and everybody had their sense and put incense upon it in order to offer before the Most High God, in order to get a response from the Most High God to see who the Most High God would choose. Like I said, he already made that choice already. And Korah assembled all the congregation against them unto the door of the tent of meeting. And the glory of Jehovah appeared unto all the congregation. So when it said Korah assembled all of the congregation, it's not at this point just talking about the 250 men with their fire pans. This is all of Israel. Because Israel, just like I said, always had this problem with the Most High God, and they took their anger that they had for the Most High God against Moses. So anytime there was murmuring going on, people followed that. So Korah was able to assemble all of Israel against Moses and Aaron at this point. So everybody that came out to see this challenge was pretty much on the side of Korah, and everybody that was with them, they're standing back to see really what's going to happen. But they came out all because Korah is the one that, mustered them up. Moses didn't call anybody out. He only called those people that wanted to come out and challenge the Most High God. But Korah called everybody out, the whole nation, to come and see what's going to happen. Verse 20. And Jehovah spoke unto Moshe and unto Aharon, saying, separate yourselves from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment. And they fell upon their faces and said, O God, the God of the spirits of all flesh, shall one man sin And would thou be wroth with all the congregation?
So that's the answer for the Most High God right there, that once he saw all of this happen, that he wanted to wipe everybody out one time. Just like last week's portion, he wanted to wipe the entire nation out, everybody that came up to stand against him. And he told Moses and Aaron to separate themselves because he's going to consume everybody. But Moses, even though he was angry, he still had a mind towards the people, and which is one of the qualities that made him a good leader, that even though the people rose up against him, he didn't want to see all of them die. So he spoke to the Most High God and he's saying, just one person sinned. It was really Korach that really started all of this. So therefore, he should be the one that's punished for all of the rebellion that's taken place, and not everybody, or because of one man. And then Most High God responds.
And Yahweh spoke unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto the congregation, saying, Get you up from about the dwelling of Korah, Datan, and Abiram. And Moshe rose up and went unto Datan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him. And he spoke unto the congregation, saying, Depart, I pray you, from the tents of these wicked men, and touch nothing of theirs, lest ye be swept away in all their sins.
So now he's speaking to all of Israel and letting them, they have an opportunity to save themselves. They really don't know what's about to happen at this point, even though everybody saw the glory of the Most High God appear to everybody, but they really don't know what's going to happen at this point. So Moses warned everybody, separate yourselves from these people right here, because if you touch anything that belongs to them, whatever happens to them is going to happen to you.
So they got up, got them up from the dwelling of Korah, Datan, and Abiram on every side. And Datan and Abiram came out and stood at the door of their tents with their wives and their sons and their little ones. Verse 28. And Moshe said, Hereby ye shall know that Yahweh has sent me to do all these works, and that I have not done them of mine own minds. If these men die the common death of all men, and be visited after their visitation of all men, then Yahweh have not sent me. But if Yahweh make a new thing, and the ground open her mouth and swallow them up, with all that are pertaining unto them, and they go down alive into the pit, then ye shall understand that these men have despised Yahweh.
So this is also part of the challenge, and that he's speaking this so that all of the children of Israel can hear. Because if these people died a regular death, then the people could just say, well, they stepped up against Moses, Moses killed them, and, that's just what he does normally anyway. But he's speaking, and he's saying that, a new thing happens, and the earth just opens her mouth, and just, swallows them up. That, it just takes everybody and all of the tent and everything that they had one time, that they would know that it's because these people despise the word of the Most High God, and therefore they would die, and all of Israel is supposed to see that and learn their lesson and not continue on their murmuring against the Most High God.
And it came to pass, as he made an end of speaking all these words, that the ground did cleave asunder that was under them. Verse 32. And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up, and their households, and all the men that appertained unto Korah, and all their goods.
But when you read later on in Numbers, you see that there were some sons of Korach that still survived. So even Korah's own family, they heard when Moses said, separate yourselves, and they separated themselves from Korah. Because if your family's doing evil, that doesn't mean that you have to stand by them. You honor your father and your mother, and you respect them in the way that you carry yourself before them. But when it's time to separate yourself from evil, separate yourself from evil. You don't have to separate yourself from evil in a disrespectful way. You just separate yourself. So when they heard Moses tell everybody, separate yourselves, all they did was step back. That's all they had to do, because they wanted to save themselves alive and be the ones, because some of his sons were the ones that were going to eventually make it into the land anyway, because they were under 20. So it didn't make sense for them in their mind to say, well, I'm promised to go into the land, but I'm going to die here with my father who despises the word of the Most High God.
Verse 33. So they and all that appertained to them went down alive into the pit, and the earth closed upon them, and they perished from among the assembly. And all Israel that were round about them fled at the cry of them, for they said, lest the earth swallow us up. So
now everybody's scared now, they're running away, because they seeing people just get swallowed up. And they said they still hearing them, because they got swallowed right there. So they're buried alive. They're going to die, of course, but they're buried alive, and they're screaming out, and the people are hearing screams come from under the ground. Wow. So that's shaking everybody already, that they had to run and say, the earth is going to swallow us up, because they also stepped up with Korach, because when Korach called the congregation, the nation of Israel followed after Korach. So they feel like, that sin is going to be upon them as well, because instead of standing up for what's right, they just followed a man who was murmuring against the Most High God.
Verse 35. And fire came forth from Jehovah and devoured the 250 men that offered the incense.
So the 250 that came with Korach, that brought incense as well, they didn't get swallowed up. They got burnt, according to the death of a regular person. Because that death that Moses proclaimed was only for Korach and Dathan and Abiram. But the 250, they died in their wickedness as well.
Chapter 17. And Jehovah spoke unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto Eleazar the son of Aharon the priest, that he take up the fire pans out of the burning, and scatter thou the fire yonder, for they are become holy. Right. Even the fire pans of these men who have sinned at the cost of their lives, and let them be made beaten plates for a covering of the altar, for they are become holy, because they were offered before Jehovah, that they may be a sign unto the children of Israel. So
anything that you offer to the Most High God that you deem to be holy is holy. So therefore, even today, anything that you deem holy for the Most High God, treat it as such. Because even it said that these men sinned at the course of their own lives, but they brought up something that they wanted to give to the Most High God. So it automatically became holy just because of that action. So it's not something that, the holy things that deal with the priest that the Most High God gives directly to them, that is what the Most High God gives directly to them. But anything else, wherever we live, if we say that this place is holy, the sanctuary on this floor is holy, then it should be that. And we have to treat it as such. And the Most High God is going to require of us to treat it as such. Everything that we do, like, the way that we say, we would like to come out before the Most High God and worship before Him in our dress, even the clothes that we wear, if we're going to separate certain clothes to the Most High God that we're going to come and worship before Him in, then treat those clothes as holy. And if you have it like that you're going to have clothes to separate, then don't wear them on regular days of the week, and just keep that as what you're going to give, when you come before the Most High God. So because the Most High God takes anything that you separate as holy unto Him, just like He took it from these men, even though they sinned against the Most High God.
Verse 4. And Eleazar the priest took the brazen fire pans which they that were burned had offered, and they beat them out for a covering of the altar, to be a memorial unto the children of Israel, to the end that no common man that is not of the seed of Aharon draw near to burn incense before Jehovah, that he fear not as Korah and his company. And Jehovah spoke unto him by the hand of Moshe.
So they took the fire pans and they beat it into a cover that would cover the altar. So anytime we went up to give an offering to the Most High God, we would see that there, and it would be a sign unto us forever that we know that it's only the priests out of the line of Aaron that would be the ones that would come and offer to the Most High God, and not anybody else, lest we die. The Most High God took that, which they did in sin, and made that a sign for us to see forever.
Verse 6. But on the morrow, all the congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moshe and against Aharon, saying, Ye have killed the people of Jehovah.
So it's just one more day, and we forgot everything that just took place the day before. The earth opened up, and fire killing 20 to 50 men. We didn't, we were scared for only that moment. And all of a sudden, we're looking at Moses and Aaron and saying that they are the ones that killed the Most High God. But also, you can look at it in this way, that everything that took place, the Most High God is speaking to Moses directly. Moses is the one speaking out to the children of Israel. So everything that happened, the children of Israel are going to think that Moses is the one that is doing everything, because they already know that Moses grew up in the house of the Egyptians, in the house of Pharaoh. He has all sorts of tricks under his sleeve, because even when he went before Pharaoh, and then they threw down a rod that became a snake, the Egyptians were able to do the same. When the water was turned to blood, the Egyptians were able to do the same. When the frogs came out, the Egyptians were able to do the same. So in the eyes of some of the children of Israel, Moses is a magician. And it was Moses that brought the challenge exactly the way that it was done. Because Korah came up to challenge Moses, but Moses is the one that laid out the rules of the challenge instead of letting them present the rules of the challenge. So when it seems that Moses is the one that said, you get your censers and put incense upon it, it's as though in the eyes of the children of Israel that they were being set up, that Moses is the one that's making all of this happen in order to kill them. And Moses is the one that pronounced that the earth should open up. So they're thinking that Moses is the one that's opening the mouth of the earth in order to swallow people, and that fire is coming from Moses in order to kill people. So therefore, it wouldn't be far-fetched in their minds to think that Moses and Aaron are tricksters who are killing the people of the Most High God.
And it came to pass, when the congregation was assembled against Moshe and against Aharon, and they looked toward the tent of meeting, And behold, the cloud covered it, and the glory of Jehovah appeared.
So God didn't waste any time on this day. He didn't wait for Moses to pray or do anything. He heard them the next day. They already saw everything already. The earth opened up, fire came out. They had the opportunity to repent, and they didn't take heed to the warning. So once they stood up in Moses and Aaron's face again, the glory of the Most High God appeared.
We're in the book of Numbers, chapter 17, verse 8. And Moshe and Aharon came to the front of the tent of meeting. And Jehovah spoke unto Moshe, saying, Get you up from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment. And they fell upon their faces. And Moshe said unto Aharon, Take thy fire pan, and put fire therein from off the altar, and lay incense thereon, and carry it quickly unto the congregation, and make atonement for them. For there is wrath gone out from Jehovah. The plague is begun.
So like I said, Moses didn't have time to pray at this time to say that, please, the God of the spirit of all flesh, be merciful upon the children of Israel. Don't destroy the people because the nation is going to say that you wiped them out. He didn't have time for this time because the Most High God was fed up with the nation of Israel. And he didn't give Moses an opportunity to speak back and to pray on behalf of the people. He just started the plague immediately to wipe them out. So all Moses could do was speak to Aaron and to tell him what to do to gain atonement for the people.
Verse 12. And Aharon took as Moshe spoke, and ran into the midst of the assembly. And behold, the plague was begun among the people. And he put on the incense, and made atonement for the people. And he stood between the dead and the living, and the plague was stayed. Now they that died by the plague were 14,700, besides them that died about the matter of Korach. And Aharon returned unto Moshe unto the door of the tent of meeting, and the plague was stayed.
So you have about 14,950 people that died in the midst of 2 days, all because of a rebellion against the Most High God. So therefore, the Most High God is not playing with the children of Israel, because he selected us to be his holy people. So therefore, anything that we do wrong, he can exact it from us immediately. We have a little bit of calmness only because we're in the lands of our captivity, so the entire nation is going to feel a brunt of the curse that he put upon all of us. But individually, we have to be careful of what we do before the Most High God, because, like I said, this is 14,950 people that died in an instant, all because they spoke against the Most High God. And now the Most High God is going to give another sign to the children of Israel.
Verse 16. And Jehovah spoke unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and take of them rods, one for each father's house, and of all their princes according to their father's houses, 12 rods. Thou shalt write every man's name upon his rod, and thou shalt write Aharon's name upon the rod of Levi. For there shall be one rod for the head of their father's houses. And thou shalt lay them up in the tent of meeting before the testimony, where I meet with you. And it shall come to pass that the man whom I shall choose, his rod shall bud, and I will make to cease from me the murmurings of the children of Israel, which they murmur against you.
So this was God speaking to Moses, but like I said, the people don't hear when God speaks to Moses these things. So now Moses is going to go to the people and say, this is what God wants you to do. Take a staff or a rod from each tribe, and the head of each tribe is going to write their name on their staff, and we're going to lay it up in the tent of meeting, and the one that rod that buds is going to be the sign that the Most High God chose that person. So Aaron's name goes on the rod of Levi, the tribe of Levi. But of course, the people are going to deal with it now. But like I said, the people in their mind are probably thinking that this is just another setup, because we're going to continue on with our murmuring in the wilderness, because Moses is the one that's coming before them and saying, let me get a rod for each tribe. And in the minds of some of the people, they're going to say, of course, Aaron's rod is going to bud, because that's what Moses is going to make happen. So, he's been doing everything so far, so of course he's going to trick us again.
Verse 22. And Moses laid up the rods before Jehovah in the tent of testimony, and it came to pass on the morrow that Moshe went unto the tent of the testimony, and behold, the rod of Aharon for the house of Levi was budded, and put forth buds, and bloomed blossoms, and bore ripe almonds. And Moshe brought out all the rods from before Jehovah unto all the children of Israel, and they looked, and they took every man his rod. And Jehovah said unto Moshe, Put back the rod of Aharon before the testimony, to be kept there, for a token against the rebellious children, that there may be an end of their murmurings against me, that they die not. Thus did Moshe, as Jehovah commanded him, so did he.
But we know that the murmuring of the children of Israel didn't stop. So now we have all of these signs. We had the manna which was taken up, to be put before the tent, in the tent of meeting, before the ark. And now we have this rod that's put before the ark. And the only thing that's actually in the ark of the covenant is the 10 commandments. And these other things were laid out outside of it as a testimony for the children of Israel forever. So that whenever people, wanted to really know who the Most High God chose, they would bring these signs out.
And the children of Israel spoke unto Moshe, saying, Behold, we perish, we are undone, we are all undone. Everyone that cometh near unto the tabernacle of Jehovah is to die. We shall wholly perish.
So now the fear of the Most High God is upon the children of Israel, the way that it's supposed to be, so that they will realize that it's only the priests out of the line of Aaron or the ones that will come near to the Most High God to present an offering on behalf of the children of Israel to the Most High God. And everybody else has their place in the nation. So the priests have their portion, the tribe of Levi has their portion, and the rest of the nation has their portion given by the Most High God. But collectively, we are a holy nation in the kingdom of priests. And in this chapter that we're going to read is going to explain the things that the priests and the Levites received from the children of Israel, and how the Most High God separated the tribe of Levi unto himself. Because this is what Korach and all of the Levites that stood up with him at this time rejected of the Most High God, because they had their own portion from the Most High God.
Chapter 18, verse 1. And Jehovah said unto Aharon, Thou and thy sons and thy father's house with thee shall bear the iniquity of the sanctuary, and thou and thy sons with thee shall bear the iniquity of your priesthood. And thy brethren also, the tribe of Levi, the tribe of thy father, bring thou near with me, that they may be joined unto thee, and minister unto thee, thou and thy sons with thee, being before the tent of the testimony.
So the priests out of Aaron are the ones that come close to the Most High God, and the Levites are joined to the priests in order to minister to the priests. So the priests can minister directly to the Most High God.
And they shall keep thy charge, and the charge of all the tent. Only they shall not come nigh unto the holy furniture and unto the altar, that they die not, neither they nor ye.
So it's talking to the Levites that they are not allowed to touch to the holy furniture of the tent of meeting. Only the priests are allowed to touch those things. Even though that the family of Korach carries the most holy items, they don't actually touch it. It's covered up first with cloth, different color cloth depending on the article that it is, and they carry it upon the poles that are put within the altar, the incense altar, the ark of the covenant, and everything like that, and the menorah as well. So they don't touch it, because they will die when they touch it, just like anybody in Israel would die if they touch it. Only the priests are allowed to get that close.
And they shall be joined unto thee, and keep the charge of the tent of meeting. Whatsoever the service of the tent may be, but a common man shall not draw nigh unto you. Verse 5. And ye shall keep the charge of the holy things, and the charge of the altar, that there be wrath no more upon the children of Israel. And I, behold, I have taken your brethren, the Levites, from among the children of Israel. For you, they are given as a gift unto Jehovah, to do the service of the tent of meeting. So
their job is to help the priests officiate before the Most High God.
Thou and thy sons with thee shall keep your priesthood in everything that pertaineth to the altar, and to that within the veil, and ye shall serve. I give you the priesthood as a service of gift, and the common man that draweth nigh shall be put to death.
So there's a priest's responsibility to protect his own office. Any position that the Most High God gives somebody, it's that person's responsibility to protect their office from anybody else that would step them and try to put themselves in that place. The Most High God gives everybody a position in life. So all you have to do is do that position to the best of your ability and live right and do right. And everybody else has to fall in line and not try to overstep their bounds that the Most High God put between them.
Verse 8. And Jehovah spoke unto Aharon, and I, behold, I have given thee the charge of my heave offerings, even of all the hollow things of the children of Israel. Unto thee have I given them for a consecrated portion, and to thy sons as a due forever. So
this is how the priests are going to eat, because being that they themselves don't have any land, they dwell in cities, or they have to do, when they're not in the cities, they're doing their work in the tent of meeting or in the temple at that time. This is how they live. This is how they get food, because the offerings that the children of Israel will bring up will go to them, because the Most High God doesn't eat anything that we give to him. So he's giving the food that the children of Israel would give to him as a gift to the priest, or because of their service. So any job that anybody does, you see that even though a person does a job for the Most High God rewards them for that work that they do. So even it's such in life, anybody does any work for you, it's only the right thing to do to make sure that that person gets paid for the work that they do for you. Because even the Most High God does it for the people that work for him. He don't look at it like, he deserves it because he created everything. He gave everybody the breath of life. So our lives are supposed to be based on serving him. But even he does everything in an orderly and structured manner, that anybody does anything for him, he pays them back. Just like it always says, when you give to the poor, that the Most High God will pay you back. Because that's work that you're doing that the Most High God is going to make sure you get paid for.
Verse 9. This shall be thine of the most holy things reserved from the fire. Every offering of theirs, even every meal offering of theirs, and every sin offering of theirs, and every guilt offering of theirs, which they may render unto me, shall be most holy for thee and for thy sons. In the most holy place shalt thou eat thereof, every male may eat thereof, it shall be holy unto thee. And this is thine, the heave offering of their gift, even all the wave offerings of the children of Israel. I have given them unto thee, and to thy sons, and to thy daughters with thee, as a due forever. Everyone that is clean in thy house may eat thereof. All the best of the oil, and all the best of the wine, and of the corn, the first part of them which they give unto Jehovah, to thee have I given them.
So along with the offerings that we would give on a regular basis, now all of the first fruits, the first of the bread, the first of the wine that would come up, like we read part of that last week, that the first goes to the Most High God. That's what the children of Israel gives of their land to the Most High God. And in turn, the Most High God takes that which we give to him and gives that to the priest to eat.
Verse 13. The first ripe fruits of all that is in their land, which they bring unto Jehovah, shall be thine. Everyone that is clean in thy house may eat thereof. Everything devoted in Israel shall be thine. Everything that openeth the womb of all flesh which they offer unto Jehovah, both of man and beast, shall be thine. Howbeit, the firstborn of man shalt thou surely redeem, and the firstling of unclean beasts shalt thou redeem. And their redemption money from a month old shalt thou redeem them, shall be, according to thy valuation, 5 shekels of silver after the shekel of the sanctuary. The same as 20 gerah.
So that's how the priest would get money as well, because the firstborn of all man in Israel belongs to the Most High God, but the Most High God didn't accept a human offering upon the altar. So the firstborn would have to be redeemed, and they get redeemed with money, and that money goes to the priest themselves.
Verse 17. But the firstling of an ox, or the firstling of a sheep, or the firstling of a goat, thou shalt not redeem. They are holy. Thou shalt dash their blood against the altar, and shalt make their fat smoke for an offering made by fire, for a sweet savor unto Jehovah. And the flesh of them shall be thine, as the waved breast, as the right thigh, it shall be thine. All the heave offerings of the holy things which the children of Israel offer unto Jehovah have I given thee, and thy sons and thy daughters with thee, as a due forever. It is an everlasting covenant of salt before Jehovah unto thee and to thy seed with thee.
So that means it's permanent, that forever, that these things are given to the priests out of all of the offerings that go to the Most High God. And now the Levites, the rest of the tribe of Levi that are not priests, are also going to receive their portion from the nation of Israel. But they don't receive their portion from the offerings, because that or the holy things would go directly to the priests. But everything, now the tithes are what go to the tribe of Levi.
Verse 20. And Jehovah said unto Aharon, thou shalt have no inheritance in their land, neither shalt thou have any portion among them. I am thy portion and thy inheritance among the children of Israel. And unto the children of Levi, behold, I have given all the tithe in Israel for an inheritance, in return for their service which they serve, even the service of the tent of meeting. And henceforth the children of Israel shall not come nigh the tent of meeting, lest they bear sin and die. But the Levites alone shall do the service of the tent of meeting, and they shall bear their iniquity. It shall be a statute forever throughout their generations, and among the children of Israel, that they shall have no inheritance. For the tithe of the children of Israel, which they set apart as a gift unto Jehovah, I have given to the Levites for an inheritance, Therefore I have said unto them, among the children of Israel they shall have no inheritance.
So because the tribe of Levi isn't given a portion of land in Israel in order to grow their crops, in order to receive food, except for the territory that is around about the Levitical cities, which we read about later on in Numbers, that first of the land, the first that comes up goes to the priest. Now beyond that, every 10th or 10% of everything, whether of the field or of beasts, that is not considered holy, but it goes to the Levites in order for them to get fed food, which is one of the reasons why we don't collect tithes today, because those tithes are collected from the land and from the beasts, and they would go to the tribe of Levi so that they could sustain themselves. And those tithes also would go to those of the poor, because it says that in the book of Deuteronomy, every 3 years, we also tithe the land and also our beasts, and those get distributed to the Levites as well as the poor that are amongst us. So that's how everybody is supported. That's how the Levites are supported, and that's how the poor are supported in the land. The Most High God makes sure everybody's taken care of, because once the nation of Israel does that which is right before the Most High God, and he blesses our produce and everything that he would give to us, we would take a portion of that and give back to him. But he would take that and give to those that perform the service that he commanded them to perform so that they could survive themselves. But the Levites themselves, even though they don't just live just by receiving, they themselves, even though they don't have land to produce, they still have to give something up to the Most High God as well, just like everybody else. And this is what we're going to read about it in the conclusion of this chapter.
Verse 25. And Jehovah spoke unto Moshe, saying, Moreover, thou shalt speak unto the Levites, and say unto them, when ye take of the children of Israel the tithe which I have given you from them for your inheritance, then ye shall set apart of it a gift for Jehovah, even the tithe of the tithe. And the gift which ye shall set apart shall be reckoned unto you as though it were the corn of the threshing floor, and as the fullness of the winepress.
So when each individual Levite gets a portion of that tithe, they had to take a tithe of that tithe that they received, 10% of the 10%, and they give that to the priest. So the priest gets fed doubly by the nation of Israel from what they give, and also from the Levites from the tithe that they would give to him as well.
Verse 28. Thus ye also shall set apart a gift unto Jehovah of all your tithes which ye receive of the children of Israel, and thereof ye shall give the gift which is set apart unto Jehovah to Aharon the priest. Out of all that is given you, ye shall set apart all of that which is due unto Jehovah, of all the best thereof, even the hollow part thereof out of it.
So once the Levites separate their tithe, that tithe is considered holy because it's going to the priest. The tithe that's separated from the children of Israel is just every 10th. If you count in, your lamb, how they did it, they let, 10 of them go by, the 10th one, they just mark it, that's the 10th. They let another, 9 go by, the 10th one, they mark it. Whatever that 10th one is of any animal, of any crop, that's not considered holy. It's just something that you would separate and give to the Levites. Now, when the Levites receive it, they have to make sure that when they give their 10th, they have to pick the best of that in order to give it to the priest. With the nation of Israel, we just give every 10th as it comes. The Levites themselves, being that their tithe is holy, they have to make sure they check out the beast itself. They could count 10. If that 10th is not a good beast, then they have to switch it and make sure that they give the best of what they have in order to give to the priest, because then it's marked holy, because that will be given as an offering from the Levites, and then whatever portion the priest would get, they would eat.
Verse 30. Therefore thou shalt say unto them, when ye set apart the best thereof from it, then it shall be counted unto the Levites as the increase of the threshing floor, and as the increase of the winepress. And ye may eat it in every place, ye and your household, for it is your reward and return for your service in the tent of meeting. And ye shall bear no sin by reason of it, seeing that ye have set apart from it the best thereof, and ye shall not profane the holy things of the children of Israel, that ye die not.
So that's hallelujah. So that's the responsibility of the tribe of Levi that Korach and the people that went up with him rejected, because the Most High God gave them a portion that is high above the rest of the nation of Israel. And also it mentioned that the 250 were princes, so these weren't regular people of the children of Israel. So therefore they had their own status and their own thing that they had to take care of in the nation, and even they rejected that in order to follow Korah in his rebellion, in order to try to get the priesthood, which the Most High God already designated to Aaron and his sons that come after him. So therefore, like I said, it's our responsibility to find our place in life, and make sure that once we find our place in life, that we live that to the best of our ability so the Most High God could bless us in everything that he has given us so that we don't overstep our bounds. Because he's given us a portion as the nation of Israel, who is the holy nation in the kingdom of priests. So therefore, as an entire nation, it's our responsibility to, respect what he has given us and also not keep this knowledge to ourselves and to go forth and be priests to the nation and teach people this law that he has given us and teach them that there was only one God and that we know that besides him there's no other Savior, that he alone is the creator of the heavens and the earth. So I thank the Most High God for the opportunity to come before his people on this day. And with that, I say Shabbat Shalom Lekem.